Okay, so if you're a real estate developer and you've got a lot of land, sometimes you are going to be dealing with intimate domain damages, meaning there's going to be an intimate domain analyzation on potentially one of your properties. Look, if you own hundreds of acres like I do right now, this is a part of the game, so you're just going to have to deal with it, okay? Now, if you're a landowner, you understand what I mean, meaning if you start owning 100 plus acres or more, sometimes you're going to have a piece of land, especially if it's close to a city. So for me, I'm in Polk County, the city of Lakeland area. And sometimes you're going to have land that the city wants to put an easement on. They want to do something to it, not in a bad way. This is not negative. And this could also be something that you're going to have to negotiate with the city. And so sometimes if they don't want to negotiate, they're going to do what they call intimate domain. Now, the cool thing is, if you ever deal with an intimate domain issue and you're a real estate developer, make sure you hire a great attorney that specializes in that. Typically, they're not going to be charging hourly. They're going to be charging whatever they get back, because there's laws that have to happen. And what that means by that is, if in the state of Florida, for example, it's a part of the Constitution in the state of Florida. Every state has its own constitution as well, on top of the United States Constitution. And a part of that Constitution, what that says is, if the company called the city or the county makes you an offer on a piece of land and they're not giving you a fair or reasonable offer, you could analyze their offer, hire a side company, which they're later on going to pay for because they're doing an intimate domain, and they're going to pay for your attorney and all the fees and everything else related to it. And you're going to have to do what they call a damage analyzation form. Quick sheet. This is the one that I have right now that I have to send back to my attorney. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. All I could say is our damages are right over there. Yeah. So you just looked at some numbers, which was in the mill range. And I would just say their offer was less than 60 grand initially. So what happens is, remember, there's an old saying, if I tell you if I tell you how someone's going to get compensated, I can tell you how that business is going to go. Meaning, if you've got salespeople that are compensated well and fair, right? And fair, probably and you have a business and you have a product that really gives great value, you're probably going to have a business that does really well. So how do you get up to 100 salespeople? I've never done that. I'm just sharing, like when I was the CEO at True Builders and True Plumbers, we had 50 plus employees, right? And the first thing I did was we switched up and gave an incentive to everybody doing a Google review. So if you get a Google review, you get $25, right? For plumbers making $25 an hour, or $30 or $40 an hour, an extra 25 or even 30, just to say, hey, can you leave us a review? And they do it. And they could do like 10 a day. We actually had plumbers giving 10 a day 5-star reviews on Google, getting the 5-star reviews, because we're incentivizing them. So that it went through the roof. And you could even look it up now, True Plumbers in Lakeland, Florida, and True Builders. When I was there, we had the most. We had over 200 5-star reviews in 1 month, because we're doing a lot in just one day. So it wasn't too difficult, but that shot us through the roof. So I go back. So what I'm saying is, the same thing is going to happen if you're a real estate developer and you ever deal with an intimate domain item. This is what's going to happen, which is, now you're going to get an offer. It's possibly not going to be fair and reasonable. The main reason why, it's not like, oh, poo-poo the city or the county. What happens is they always hire an attorney to negotiate. How do attorneys get compensated? I'll wait. Yeah, you're right. Hourly wage. So if somebody's going to get an hourly wage, what's the incentive? Write it out. That's the incentive, to write it out. So if they write it out, what happens? They get paid more. That's how they get paid. And it's not like anybody from the city is going to audit, because how do they get paid? I'll wait. Salary, exactly. They don't get compensated to save you money. They get compensated just for a job. It's just a job, right? And when I was in the military, it was just a job. And after a while, you learn how to sham. Shamming in the military was like being lazy as hell and still getting paid for it, because you know you can't get fired. And back in the day, the only way you can get fired is don't ask, don't tell. Meaning, if you just tell, in the military, back in the day, when I was in, Just read between the lines about the don't ask, don't tell. Google that. Anyway, so that was the only way to get kicked out of the military, or you're fat as hell and you had a tire on your waist. That's what we called it back in the day. And back in the day, bullying was approved. So it is what it is. So anyway, going back to this on, if you ever have to deal with the intimate domain as a project, as a developer, do your best just to get a great attorney, and at the same time too, doing an intimate domain damages analyzation. Usually they have to hire a third party for that and then go through it. And if they're wrong, that's fine. Just basically then come up with your own scenarios on why they're wrong to add it to it and give it to the attorney and let them do their job. All right, so actually, I thought I was going to do 2 parts. This is one. So hopefully this helps. All right, be blessed. Bye.